Hydrogen fuel cells run vehicles and other machines by directly converting the chemical energy in hydrogen gas into electrical power. Hydrogen is an abundant fuel source and it can be extracted from water, enabling almost any country to produce it domestically.
Essentially, a hydrogen fuel cell is a device that converts hydrogen into electricity producing water.
Right.
So it has two feeds, so you need to feed it with hydrogen and oxygen, and it has one byproduct, which is water.
Right.
It does this electrochemically, so unlike a combustion engine, where you're basically extracting the energy through the heat and the vibrations, we're purely taking the electrons and using the electrons as electricity, which makes it a much more efficient process.
Right.
And quite commonly, with a PEM fuel cell, a proton exchange membrane fuel cell, you can run the fuel cell in both directions. So you can both produce hydrogen and then use that hydrogen to produce electricity.
But how does the fuel cell work? A single PEM fuel cell is made up of 2 plates, 2 electrodes, and 2 thin layers of platinum-based catalyst, separated by a plastic membrane, which, when fed with the fuel, reacts electrochemically to create electricity. Hydrogen from an onboard storage tank and oxygen from air are fed through channels on the plates. Hydrogen flows on one side of the membrane, air on the other. The catalyst splits the hydrogen molecule into protons and electrons. The protons can pass through the membrane. The electrons cannot, and have to pass through an external circuit, creating useful electricity. On the oxygen side of the membrane, the protons and the electrons react with oxygen from the air in the presence of a second catalyst layer, generating water and heat. By stacking together single cells, like slices in a loaf of bread, you make a fuel cell stack to produce the required amount of power. To replace the internal combustion engine in your car with a clean, quiet, pollution-free fuel cell engine. Fuel cell-powered cars look just like other cars on the road today, but they are cleaner, quieter, more efficient, and work very differently. When you turn the key, hydrogen and compressed air flow to the fuel cell module, which contains the fuel cell stack. A fuel cell engine consists of the proton exchange membrane, or PEM, fuel cell module, coupled with the systems required in a typical automotive engine. The electricity produced by the fuel cell is delivered to the electric drive system in the vehicle. The drive system converts electrical power into the mechanical energy that drives the wheels of the car. The fuel cell generates electricity that can be used to power a car, truck, bus, or other vehicle for as long as fuel is supplied. Just like your car, fuel cells need fuel to operate. The Ballard fuel cell uses hydrogen as a fuel, which can be produced in many different ways, and once produced can be stored as a compressed gas or liquid, or in a chemical or metal compound. Different areas of the world will create hydrogen in different ways, depending on economics and available resources. Hydrogen can be delivered to fueling stations by road, barge, rail, or pipeline, or can be made on-site at gas stations. People may one day be able to produce their own hydrogen at home. You can see there are many options available to enable the hydrogen infrastructure to grow. The fuel cell is 2 to 3 times more efficient than your gasoline engine and does not create pollution. Additional benefits include increased performance and onboard power, higher reliability, and greater flexibility in vehicle design and engine layout.
I mean, this is my understanding. They're made of like extremely expensive and extremely rare metals, or are they? I mean, do they have to be?
It is one of the fundamental problems with the fuel cell technology at the moment, is that they're just simply too expensive to use for the average consumer, which is why you see them in niche environments where they represent advantages.
Yeah.
Platinum is still the predominant catalyst that we use inside the proton exchange membrane.
And platinum sounds like an expensive sort of
metal. It is an
stuff.
exceedingly expensive metal.
Yeah.
We are a flexible and innovative species, and we have the capacity to adapt and modify our behavior. Now, we most certainly have to do so if we're to deal with climate change. It's the biggest challenge we have yet faced.
The same thing that keeps the earth warm, CO2 may make the earth too warm. It holds in heat. Methane, chlorofluorocarbons, water vapor, and carbon dioxide. They all trap heat. Methane, chlorofluorocarbons, water vapor, and carbon dioxide. They all trap heat.
It is important that the world get together to face the problems which attack us as a unit.
The evidence is clear.
The globe is getting too warm.
We can avoid climate catastrophes. We can do this. We can change the world. Science offers us answers to these huge challenges.
It's one global ecosystem.
We can do this. We can change the world.
Every single thing every one of us does affects everybody all over the world. It's one global ecosystem.
Warm, wet, cold or dry, climates all start in the sky. Warm, wet, cold or dry, climates all start in the sky.
When the CO2 is high, the temperature is high, moving together in lockstep. When the CO2 is low, the temperature is low, moving together.
It is important that the world get together to face the problems which attack us as a unit.
The evidence is clear.
The globe is getting too warm.
We can avoid climate catastrophes. We can do this. We can change the world. Science offers us answers to these huge challenges.
It's one global ecosystem.
We can do this. We can change the world.
Our use of fossil fuels for energy is pushing us towards a climate unlike any seen in the history of civilization.
Adding carbon dioxide to the atmosphere warms things up. The rise in CO2 comes from burning fossil fuels. When you burn them, add oxygen and makes CO2 that goes in the air. We're reversing the process by which they form. We're reversing the process.
We're talking about something that affects the entire earth. Problems that transcend nations. It is important that the world get together to face the problems which attack us as a unit.
The evidence is clear.
The globe is getting too warm.
We can avoid climate catastrophes. We can do this. We can change the world. Science offers us answers to these huge challenges.
It's one global ecosystem.
We can do this. We can change the world.